Co-conspirator number one, also known as Rudy Giuliani, is not thrilled with former Vice President Mike Pence after he had, on Wednesday, put some of the blame for Donald Trump's third indictment on his lawyers.
Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear.
Now, as one of those crackpot lawyers, Rudy Giuliani decided to hit back, and it's fun. Nothing like Republican on Republican crime. Take a look.
So I'm a real trial lawyer, not make-believe people. I once got a congressman to break down on the witness stand and confess. So I really know what I'm doing, and to be described as what did Pence say? Oh, I don't think he's ever been in a courtroom, and he went to a law school nobody even knows. I mean, that guy. I mean, I thought before this all happened that he was a really good guy, but too weak to be president. I always worried about him following Trump because I would see him with his wife having something around his neck every night and walking around. She doesn't let him go to she lets him go to the bathroom by himself. That's about it. But imagine that skunk doing what he did today. I mean, he if you can't separate Trump from the First Amendment issue here, then you're just not a good person.
Okay, so first thing that I enjoyed, I'm a real trial lawyer. Wait, when you have to start out your argument with, I'm a real lawyer, that does not sound good. Weird. Unlike any of these other guys. Wait, who's saying that you're not a lawyer? You can be a lawyer and a crackpot. But okay, so a lot of fun stuff in this. I'm going to talk about the leash comment because I think that's the most fun. You know what he's referring to. I'm pretty sure that there's a kink involved in that one. Okay, let's be honest. I'm not going to shame anybody for that. I'm just saying that that's what it is.
Sexual anarchy?
Or is it anarchy? It doesn't actually sound like the anarchy part. Okay, look. So he's going to make these this weird innuendo comment. So, of course, I'm going to have to do it. I'm forced into it. I don't have a choice. I'm going to talk about Rudy Giuliani's audio recordings. Now, this is recent evidence in a lawsuit against him from a former aide, alleging that he had done some pretty disgusting comments, sexual harassment, anti-Semitism. Everything's in there. It's bad. So let me give you some a quote here from Giuliani to Noel Dunphy. And this was in a March 12th, 2019 exchange. Warning on language here. Come here, big, and of course there's a slang for breasts. Come here, big T. Your T's belong to me. Give them to me. I want to claim my T's. I want to claim them. These are mine. These breasts belong to me. No one else can get near these, okay? I don't care if they're flirting or they give you business cards. These are mine. You got it? Understand, I'm very effing possessive. I've gone easy on you. Wow. Okay. Unhinged. Very, very unhinged. In other transcripts, Giuliani also emphasized to Dunphy that, quote, I want to own you, calling her my, of course, bitch, whore, slut, all those words. Okay, so, yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's almost as if he's just out there telling us what his kink is. And that's apparently domination. Now, in this case, of course, he's criticizing Mike Pence for the opposite, for female domination. It's really, really interesting how they're just like letting it all air out. Okay, letting it all hang out, I should say. I know that's something that you really don't want to talk about. Certainly.
Testicles. Tallywhacker.
No. All right. So now look, that said, to Pence's credit, Pence is not into sexually harassing his workers, unlike Rudy Giuliani. So I guess, at least Mike Pence has never been accused of that. So now let's get back to the crackpot lawyer comments. So let's talk about it. Some of the crackpot lawyers. So obviously Giuliani, who himself has had some issues. But then Sidney Powell. Remember, Sidney Powell is also one of the other co-conspirators in this indictment. She had gotten her so-called information about voter fraud, about the ghost of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, in the voting machines.
In Venezuela.
Well, she got that from a random woman who claims that she sees things in dreams. She wrote a memo, cited by Sidney Powell, claiming that she had gained insight from experiencing something, quote unquote, like time travel in a semi-conscious state. And that's where she had got the information about the election. Powell's source also claims that the wind tells her that she's a ghost. Although she says, I don't believe it. I'm not a ghost.
Wind.
She also wrote that she knew that the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia had been killed during a week-long human hunting expedition at an elite social club. You know what? That's actually the most believable part of this, because really, if given the chance, rich people probably would hunt this for sport. But not people like Antonin Scalia, who are incredibly powerful, but just like average people. The most dangerous game. Now, she also, among some of her other insights, by the way, one of them was the late Fox News chairman Roger Ailes and Fox Corp founder Rupert Murdoch that are, to this day, getting together to huddle secretly to determine the best ways on how to portray Donald Trump in a negative light, as badly as possible. I will remind you that Roger Ailes has been dead for years. At the time of this memo's writing, Roger Ailes had been dead for 3 years. Kind of hard to do that when you dead. Just saying. Wow. She also wrote, by the way, who am I? And how do I know all of this? I've had the strangest dreams since I was a little girl. I was internally decapitated, and yet I live. Internally decapitated. So, that's the brain genius, okay, behind the voter fraud allegations spread by co-conspirator Sidney Powell. Again, was a lawyer on Trump's team telling Donald Trump, there's voter fraud. I have very good sources, very legitimate sources. Her, along with, again, Rudy Giuliani, had spread this disinformation to people like Maria Bartiromo, Lou Dobbs, formerly of Fox News, and of course, former President Donald Trump. They shared these insane ramblings as proof, on air, by the way, that Joe Biden stole the 2020 election. Something that Sidney Powell had admitted in federal court that, quote, no reasonable person would conclude that her statements were truly statements of fact. That was her court defense in a defamation suit. So when you're talking about crackpot lawyers, where's the lie? Mike Pence told the truth. Now, the other thing here is notice how Rudy Giuliani doesn't actually address any statements, any of the main points from Mike Pence, saying that, of course, that correctly, that he did not have the authority to overturn the election, and that Trump had continuously asked him to anyway. He also said that he didn't know about the fake elector scheme. The fake elector scheme, of course, Rudy Giuliani was very, very involved in that. And again, based off these insane claims of voter and election fraud. Now, two other people, by the way, that were swept up in Rudy Giuliani's lies were election workers in Georgia, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. So now there's this video, again, spread by Giuliani and Donald Trump when they were desperately trying to find some sort of evidence to show that there was voter and election fraud. There's this video of them, and they claim that they were moving suitcases of fake ballots. Now, of course, people looked into that. investigators, they found they did absolutely nothing wrong. And now those two are suing Rudy Giuliani. So, again, on one side, we have Mike Pence, who, again, is not a great person, as I pointed out. He's actually a pretty terrible person, very rabid right-winger, but he's not insane. And then on the other side, we have complete and utter crackpottery. And that is, let me quote Trump on this, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on where you're sitting, coming back to haunt Rudy Giuliani. And so I'm thinking that instead of going on Newsmax to, rant about stuff that Mike Pence said about him, he might want to, just sit back and shut up and try to figure out how the hell he's going to get out of this one.